Welcome to the Buck and Bass Ranch. We're in pursuit of hogs tonight. So my wife's in the hillside blind. I'm heading to Dad's blind, and we're gonna make something happen.
Got a target set up here at about probably 30 yards, because that's kind of where I'm going to be hunting to start with. And then after I shoot it at 30 yards, I'll try to move the target back to 100 on another day.
Well, folks, we are outside, and we're going to have a quick lunch of blackened catfish.
Welcome to A Sportsman's Life. We're so glad you tuned in to join us for another exciting real-world outdoor adventure right here on A Sportsman's Life.
Welcome to the Buck and Bass Ranch. We're in pursuit of hogs tonight. So my wife's in the hillside blind. I'm heading to Dad's blind, and we're gonna make something happen tonight, I think. Sun's starting to go down here a little bit. We're gonna head to the blind and we're gonna make something happen. So we'll be back. Big tracks, that's a big hog. Ooh. Sounded like he crashed off that way. Alright, I'm gonna go take a peek, so stick with me here. We'll be back in a moment. I saw him cut up this way, so I'm just gonna sneak over this way, maybe. See if I can see him here. He was hit hard. I thought I heard crashing over here, so. I think he came up this trail and turned around and went back down it again. definitely down. I want you to see this, folks. Look at that. Wow. He's a bruiser. He's an old boar. Look at the scratch marks on him and stuff. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I need to go get the tractor and get him out of here, so we'll be back. All right, folks. We're heading back to camp. We weren't out here all that long and made a great shot on that hog. He is down. Boy, he's got some teeth on him, doesn't he? Whew, exciting. Anyway, gonna head back to camp here and get the tractor and we'll get him out. So, pork for the smoker tonight.
As I prepare to process the meat off of this old boar, I think back on some of the great memories of past hunts and the good times ahead, Lord willing. Thanks for joining me on this hunt. Brought to you by Dallas Safari Club, Conservation, Education, and Hunter Advocacy. Hornaday, accurate, deadly, dependable. Taurus Firearms, maker of the Raging Hunter. Trijicon, brilliant aiming solutions.
As you can see, it is indeed summertime. I'm nearly sopping wet. Been planting a bunch of different seeds that I'm hoping some of them might come up between now and hunting season. Others will come up probably during the winter time or early spring. And trying to take my little place here from a place that's been badly overgrazed for about 150 years that my family has had it, to bring it back to where it was, where I remember it, when we had a fair number of trees scattered out on this place and had kind of a savanna, but had a thick cover down around a little old creek that is now been cleared a long time ago, back in the 50s, 1950s that is. And so, among other things, I've got my rifle range set up here and I'm getting ready for hunting season. Shooting a lot this year. My plans are to shoot a lot with this Taurus Raging Hunter. Now, years ago when I was on staff with Shooting Times, I did a lot with Taurus, but back then it was called the Raging Bull, and shot several deer with it. One thing I remembered about it was extremely accurate. Well, one of the things they've done in terms of improvement is greatly increase the size of the frame, the barrel length. Got the Picatinny rail so that you can mount the Trijicon Rso Sight on it. Also has a muzzle brake up here, so it really kind of makes it a pleasure to shoot. Got a target set up here at about, probably 30 yards, because that's kind of where I'm going to be hunting to start with. And then after I shoot it at 30 yards, I'll try to move the target back to 100 on another day. But sighted it in for 25 a couple days ago, and then moved it out to 100 and resighted it in. So we're going to see what it does at 25. And then, like I say, after a little bit, next time I come out, I'll be shooting it at 100. But for the time being, where I'm hunting with Luke and Jeff for hogs, my longest shot's going to be about 30 yards. So that's what I'm sighting in for. This is the Trijicon Rso, and basically it's got a little red dot. The little red dot is a 3.5 minute dot, which means at 100 yards it covers up 3.5 inches at 100 yards. So that'll give you the opportunity to get a good solid shot on an animal out to that distance. With this 44 mag, this shooting a Hornady 240 grain XTP ammo, I can tell you it's accurate out to 100 yards. I shot it the other day that way. Shot it at 25, had it sighted in, dead on, took it out to 100. Made a couple of minor adjustments at 100, so now I'm going to go back and shoot it at 30 and see what we can come up with. I always want to try to keep that in front of the cylinder, and don't ever put your hands up here on the front. Never shoot a revolver like this, because if you do, it'll probably cut off your fingers. Always keep your grips back behind the gun, the trigger guard. Never forward of the trigger guard. Okay, never ever forward of the trigger guard. I'll repeat that because I don't want you to see you losing fingers. So we're going to take a couple shots here and see what happens, and see what it does at 25. Right through the almost the bullseye. Another hole right there in the bullseye. I'm gonna move the camera down closer to the target. Hopefully I won't hit the camera, but we've got 2 shots in. That'll give you an idea, and we'll see what it looks like when it hits the target. Well, as you can see, it shoots pretty good. I shot a little bit to the left on some of them, on 3 shots, but I also tell you that I know the trigger broke to the left when I pulled the trigger. The trigger's a little bit heavy, and so it takes me a couple of shots to kind of get used to what it's done, but once it does, then I can settle down. And you saw the order of the shots, but I'll tell you, at 25 yards, any animal that I shoot at with this particular load is going to be in danger. And if I do my part, I know that XTP 240 grain will do its part. As you can see, it's pretty accurate. This particular, there's 6 shots right here at about 30 yards. Now, at 100, what I did the other day is this right here. I sighted it in here at this particular target. I was about, 1.5 inches high, so I shot it this first, again, just to be sure, shot at this target. I was 1.5 inches high, when or almost 2 inches. Then what I did is I lowered the sight so that I thought I was going to be pretty much dead on at 100. Fired 2 shots. Those 2 were in the exact same hole. The other 2 more shots that I shot here were also shot at 100. And you can see I'm shooting a little bit to the left, and I think that's coming from that heavy trigger pull. I'm just still now getting used to it. Not so sure that I may not have this gun worked on the trigger just a little bit, because you can see how accurate the potential of it is. So basically, once I shoot it a little bit, maybe the trigger will ease up a little bit. If not, I'll have it worked on by a guy that runs the Handgun Hunting International, and has a shop in Fredericksburg, Texas. So eventually, if I don't correct on this to where the trigger comes down a little bit as far as trigger pull, then probably what I'll do is have it adjusted a little bit. So this is where I really want to shoot right here. But I'll tell you what, that right there isn't bad. Now, one of the things, this is a Trijicon Rso Sight. You look through it a little bit and you can see the red dot. Now you can either increase the intensity of that red dot by pushing it on the back side where there's a plus, or you can decrease the intensity of it by reducing a little bit. So in a very bright situation, you may want to have it really bright. In a kind of low light situation, you may want to come down on it a little bit. It just makes it shooting a little bit easier, and to me, for my eyes, to adjust to it. Now this is a double action. Now it looks like there's ammo in there, and yes, there is ammo in there, but it's also it's been shot, so I'm going to take it out, and it's got kind of a double mechanism here that allows you to take the cylinder out so that you can either replace it or there we go. You can see these have been shot right here, and I'm not going to reload it right now, but I want to show you one more thing about this gun. This is a double action. Now, double action means that simply you can cock the hammer. And if you'll notice, I know there's nothing in here, but just to be on the safe side, I'll check it another time, make sure that there's nothing there by the chamber, nothing in the cylinders, close it up, make sure I've got it pointed in the proper direction, which means away from anything. So I can get ready to shoot this thing. There are 2 ways to do it. One of them is to cock the hammer before you pull the trigger. So you can cock the hammer like you would with a single action that would be required with a single action. Or, if you want to, once you get used to the trigger pull, you can shoot it double action. That means I can pull the trigger, the hammer comes back, the cylinder rotates and aligns it properly, and the shot goes off. Now you see my hand right here. I'm simply doing this to show you. I would never, ever, ever place my hand in front of the cylinder anywhere forward. Remember, never beyond, once you get live ammunition in it, or even if they think there may be, and it's better never, ever to even do what I did right there. Always keep your hand back here, because there's a tremendous amount of hot gas that escapes that little gap right there. And it can literally, if you had your hand right here, it'd probably cut your finger off. So always remember, if you're shooting a revolver, single action, double action, it doesn't make any difference. Always be sure you keep your hand back here when you pull the trigger. So, great gun, the Taurus Raging Hunter. It's 44 mag. It is ported. If you see the little holes right up there, it means it's ported. That releases some of the gas right as the bullet is about to come out. Now that means the gas goes back in the back direction, so you can feel it. Handguns are loud. That's why I'm wearing these. And generally I'm wearing eye protection as well too. In this case I wasn't. Should have been doing it regardless, but unfortunately I wasn't, and gladly didn't have to pay the price. But you want to be careful. Always wear hearing protection when you're shooting these ported type guns or handguns. With the ones we have now, you've got the kind that, oh my God, you can turn up the volume, you can turn it off, or whatever you want to do, and you can hear a whole lot better when you get older. So a lot of fun shooting with these handguns. We're going to go on a hunt here in the next several days, and by golly, we're going to see what we can come up with a handgun to take. Been years since I've seriously hunted with a handgun. There was a time I almost hunted with them exclusively, so y'all stay tuned. We'll see what we can come up with.
A Sportsman's Life is also brought to you by Air Force Air Guns, AGM Global Vision, H3 Whitetail Solutions, Pyramid Air, Gear the Hunt, and Horizon Smokers.
Hey guys, Captain Chris here from Striper Express Guide Service on A Sportsman's Life. A tip I'd like to give you for this summer is we are burning these slabs, and basically that's just taking a slab spoon, guys, and finding these fish located in the deep water. Tend to find them anywhere from 50 to 90 foot deep, but when you really are catching them is when they're about 15 to 45 foot down. If they're 40 or 50 foot down, they can be a little questionable. But one thing I want to talk about, so we're dropping the slabs as fast as you can, and you reel it up as fast as you can. Well, when that fish hits it, it likes to pull you down. And people are real bad about letting the tip be in the water. And I'm always saying, tip up, because what'll happen is we get in these fish, and we're really catching them good, and everybody thinks they can give them the BASS shuffle, you know, flip them over the side of the boat. And if you really know, stripers are a heavy, strong fish. And if you're gonna do that, you need to let the tool do all the work. What I see is people all the time, like happened this morning on this broke rod. I have too many fish going on, and instead of waiting for me to get there with the net or using the whole tool, they'll grab a pole right here, guys, and then you lose all your power and bend, and you pick up that fish and you snap that pole right in half. When, if you just would have used the whole pole and picked it up over the side of the boat, much better chance of success, or just wait for your captain to get there with the net. Anyways, guys, I'm just trying to keep the rods from being broke and the rods staying bent. So we'll see you out on the water in Lake Texoma. This is Captain Chris signing out.
Conservation Today is brought to you by Hayden Outdoors Real Estate, the brand that sells the land. Visit HaydenOutdoors.com to find or sell your farm, ranch, or recreational property.
We do have a lot of fire ants here. One time the fire ants just seemed like they took control, and we lost pretty much all the squirrels, lost our quail during the time when the fire ants really moved in. There were some of the extenuating circumstances, but certainly the fire ants had something to do with the quail loss on the property here, because I grew up during the drought of the 50s when there was no rain for months, and we had an abundance of quail. And then it wasn't long after that we started getting fire ants, and regardless of what some of the research has shown here on our property, it seemed like we lost all of our quail whenever we started getting fire ants. For a long time we didn't have any jackrabbits, we didn't have any cottontails, had very few fawns, lost quite a few of our calves as well too, because the fire ants could go to the moisture, they would crawl down into the esophagus, and where the esophagus closed down they would start biting. And same thing with white-tailed deer fawns. We lost a lot of white-tailed fawns during that time frame, and what had happened is that the animals would starve to death because they would suck the milk in, it'd go down the esophagus to that point, and then come right back up again, so they never got into the stomach. But it seems like the fire ants and wildlife have kind of reached an equilibrium here a little bit. We still have a lot of fire ants, but now we start to see jackrabbits again, and squirrels, and a whole bunch of other things, but no quail. But white-tailed deer are doing well.
Well, folks, we are outside, and we're going to have a quick lunch of blackened catfish. You know, quite often we talk about, or I talk about, frying catfish. Well, I'll tell you what, blackened catfish is awfully good. Now, this skillet, believe it or not, is not smoking hot. It's not white. It's actually real hot, but it's not white hot. And the way I blacken them, I use, let me hold some of this up for you here. Actually, it's Cabela's. You probably have a little trouble in this light seeing this, but it's Cabela's Blackening. You can get a big shaker of this for not much money instead of the little shakers of the more conventional blackening seasoning. But catfish lends itself very well to frying. We all know that, but there's no reason not to blacken a little catfish every now and then. And that's what I thought I'd do. Had some fillets here from Channel Cat that I caught down at Lake Tawakoni, actually, with Tony Pennybaker not too long ago. So let's blacken these. I'll give you a look at them as they get a little bit more crispy. Okay, let's give them a turn here. I turned one of them already. Oh yeah. We'll let these crisp up a little bit. You might see most of that olive oil. There's a little slant to that skillet. A little trick I've got here. We're going to pull them out away from some of that that olive oil. Let them brown up a little bit. And then who knows, we may fry some too. It'd be a shame to got a whole bunch more fillets and a couple of folks coming around here in just a little bit to eat with me, so we may fry up some catfish too. I wish you could smell this blackened catfish. Well, our catfish fillets are definitely getting here. There's one in there that I had that you didn't see that was actually being covered by another little fillet. Yeah, these are just, this one here especially is just right. You have to take them out when they look just right. And this little one is just right. Oh yeah. That's going to be some good eating, folks. This little fillet is ready. We'll put it up here. Big one. Let's give this bigger, thicker one just a little more time in that hot olive oil. But you know, folks, there's a lot of ways you can cook fish, even catfish. Now, striper lends itself well to blackening, but catfish does too. I want you to try this sometime. We're not going to exclude frying some little catfish. I've got quite a few fillets left. We're going to put a little more oil in this, and then we'll drop in some on with some cornmeal and fry some too. What do you say? Now then, I'm going to give you a little trick here, a little something special here. Let's put some regular old cooking oil in here with this olive oil. Has the blackening seasoning infused in it, if you will. We'll get that oil hot with the residue there from our blackening, and I think we're going to have us some really, really seasoned fried catfish fillets. So let's let the oil get hot, and we'll drop some more fillets in with the batter. Okay, my friends, before you think I've gone totally health food on you, let's do this number right here. Let's drop in some well-seasoned catfish fillets, cooked in that blackening seasoning with the olive oil with some regular old canola oil. That would have been a shame just to have strictly blackened fish, wouldn't it? Okay, let's get these cooking, and we'll pull them out of there when they're really crispy. And that with these right here with the blackened fish, I think they'll make old Luke a pretty good meal. We'll take a look at them here in just a bit. Well, folks, I've already taken out quite a few of these. This is catfish like you're probably more accustomed to seeing us cook here on A Sportsman's Life. It's good old fried catfish. It would have been a shame not to have this to go with our blackened fish. So let's plate all this up, and let's take a look at some blackened fish and some fried fish cooked in that blackening seasoning. Kind of a different twist today. So here we go. Well, folks, just a little bit different way to cook catfish. You might note I have a little bit more fried catfish than I do blackened here, but I did sample the blackened catfish. Very good. And if you also look close at this fried fish, it's a little darker in color than what we usually do when we fry catfish. That's because of the blackening seasoning. You know, I just left all that in the skillet after blackening these fillets, and that gave a little bit spicier taste to it too. I wish I could hand you some of this to eat. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. That wraps it up for this week. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to our sponsors, Gearhead Archery, Snaplock Hunting Blinds, Smoke Tex Electric Smokers, TRHP Outdoors, and Ultramatic Feeders. Make sure and tune in next week for some more real-world outdoors.